There are many evil people in the world who want you to believe there's not a single best seat on an airplane. This is simply not the case. Those people are big evil liars. Everybody who knows anything knows that the best seat on any airplane is the pilot's seat. Eh? I think that there was no one on the entire internet who thought that was as funny as I did. Eh? Okay, all right, last time for that, well, at least for now. When you're trying to pick a seat on an airplane, there are three very important rules. Number one is the most important. It's to confirm your seat 24 hours before your flight actually takes off. Now, you're going to want to do this for a couple of reasons. The first one is that airlines change the airplanes around a lot, which means that you may have already picked out what you thought was the perfect seat, only to find that the airplane has changed and your seat is actually really crappy now. So make sure that when you're 24 hours out of your flight, that you verify they have the same aircraft and that the seat that you picked, which I'll give you more tips for in just a moment, that is indeed still the best seat on the aircraft. So make sure you check in 24 hours. A lot of times, even if you had confirmed a seat before, they're going to change it. So just make sure you do it 24 hours before the flight and you should be good to go. The next one is do not sit next to lavatories. Now, obviously there's the smell issue. That just kind of goes without saying. But there's also the noise issue. The lavatories in the area around there is where they usually cook things, which actually is kind of gross now that I think about it, but that's how they tend to do it. That's where they heat up your nasty food anyways. It's close to where the lavatories are, so you're gonna get the smell of both things and it's gonna be awful. You're in a gigantic floating tube anyway, so like the situation is not ideal to begin with, but you get the idea. So avoid the lavatories. So sit farther back if you can, or sit farther front if you have lots of money and you can do first class or business class. The next one is join a frequent flyer program. So if you've not done this already, just go ahead and do it. If you live in the United States, I'll make it easy for you. If you travel domestically a lot, do Alaska's program. If you want to travel all over the world, then do United's program. Now, there's lots of ins and outs depending on where you live, but those are the basic ideas. Do a frequent flyer program many times for the cost of nothing. You'll get your seat upgraded, or you'll have access to more inventory as far as seats go, and you'll be able to get the best seat that is available on the aircraft. Seating myths. I'm in a really weird mood today with this video. All right, there are 4 common myths that I hear all the time when people talk about airline seats. The first one is the one that bugs me the most. It's people who always say that the exit seats are the best. This is not true. A lot of times those exit seats suck. Now, you do have more legroom, which is great, and the odds of you having to ever have to use and open those doors are very, very low. So in those ways, those seats are good. But there's problems. You can't store your stuff underneath the seat in front of you because the FAA gets all mad at you. And you can't use the plugs usually. Like if you're trying to plug in your laptop or your phone or something, they're usually not available in the exit seats. So I actually intentionally avoid the exit seats, and I let all of the noobs who don't know how to fly properly, I let them go out of their way and pay more to get those seats because honestly, they're not that much better. And for those reasons I mentioned before, they actually really suck. The next myth I hear is that forward seats towards the front of the plane, are the best. Now, this is certainly true for business class and for first class. But this is not true for economy and for coach. In that case, it's actually, I prefer to sit towards the back of the plane. Now, not entirely in the back, because those seats don't recline and that's awful. But I do try to go a little bit further back. And the reason for this is twofold. One, those are usually the last seats to go, depending on the airline, which means that you're going to have a more likely chance of having nobody sitting next to you, which is great. And two, those are where a lot of reward seats are, and so the people that do end up sitting next to you tend to, on average, be more interesting than people if you're going to sit closer to the front, but not quite in first class or business class. So people always say, or at least I've heard many people say, that sitting towards the front of the plane is actually better and those seats are more amazing. Not true. Total myth. False. Myths number 3 and 4, I'm going to combine them because I'm lazy and I get to make this video, so it's my choice. Is that people claim that seats in the front of the airplane and above the wings are more safe in the event of a plane crash. Now, this may be true depending on the model of the plane, but honestly, if the plane is going to crash, you're going to be totally screwed and you're very likely going to die. So don't even use this as a reason for picking your seat because frankly, it's not going to make a difference. And if it does, they're probably going to make a movie out of your life and you're going to be fine to begin with. Okay, so that's a lot of like theory and jargon and abstract things. Let's get down to the business. What's the best seat on the airplane? Well, for this you can use science. Well, actually use the internet. There's 2 websites that'll tell you how to do this. Seat Guru and seatexpert.com. Now, both of them are essentially the same, although they won't say that. I always go for Seat Expert only because I hate people who say the word guru outside of the context of what it actually means. So I avoid Seat Guru and I go Seat Expert. They will show you, given what your flight number is, what aircraft you are very likely to be using, and what are the pros and cons of each of the seats on that airplane. So just go ahead and use one of those websites. That's going to tell you mathematically or using science what is likely to be the best seat on any given airplane. Now, what about if you don't want to use science? What if you're one of those non-science people? Well, then you can just guess. I've just found that seat 10A on airplanes tends to be really, really good. I mean that. Like, if you don't want to choose, if you're too lazy to just go and like figure it out with Seat Guru, Seat Expert, just go 10A. I've flown that probably hundreds of times, and it's pretty good. It's a window seat. All right, pretty straightforward. That's it. Thanks. Wait, one last thing. I forgot that I don't actually know everything. I'm sure there are plenty of smarter people out there in the world who are watching this video. If you are one of those people, please leave a comment below. If you are not one of those people, please shut up and do not leave a comment below. For everyone else, feel free to at least think about subscribing to this channel. Thanks.